All right, let's talk about psychopaths. I think a fitting way to end this show with these two psychopaths that I'm sitting next to. But first, let's look at the definition of psychopaths. Psychopathy is a personality disorder characterized by shallow emotions, in particular reduced fear, stress tolerance, lacking empathy, cold-heartedness, lacking guilt, egocentricity, superficial character, manipulativeness, irresponsibility, impulsivity, and antisocial behaviors such as parasitic lifestyle and criminality. Now, I bring this up not because I just want to talk about psychos, but because Time Magazine had an interesting article on the type of professions that kind of breed psychopaths versus the ones that don't. So let's take a look at that. Okay, and now here's where we're all going to be in trouble. The ones that breed psychopathy. Number one, CEO. I think we're all going to have fun with that. We're just going to read a couple of them. 2, lawyer. 3, media, TV, radio. Let's put /internet there, and then we're all in trouble. Salesperson, surgeon, journalist. Now, you can see most of these things, with the exception of police officers, these are pretty well-paying jobs, generally.
Clergy person?
That's the interesting one. Hold that one.
I missed that one.
Now look at the ones that do not breed psychopathy, and this is really fascinating. So care aide, nurse, therapist, craftsperson, charity worker, teacher, creative artist, doctor, accountant. Okay.
Oh no, my accountant is absolutely psychopath. That needs to flip over.
Yeah.
But if you wait, can you put that back up again?
Yeah, put that up again.
I mean, we could also do this. Like, we could have like a little head of let's say Bill O'Reilly, and you could just like magnet. You could just go, well, he's a CEO. Boom. I think he's a lawyer.
Media.
Boom. Media, TV, radio. Nah, that one doesn't fit. He's a salesperson. Boom. I think he played a surgeon once on TV. Boom. Calls himself a journalist. I mean, literally, look at all the people we know that fit 1 through 3, 7, and 10.
But here's the deal.
All right, so clean this up for me, because I don't want to feel that we're psychopaths.
Well,
we're all number 3.
Well, there's a lot of gray area. The other thing they had in this article was the list of traits, and how you could kind of, say the name of these traits differently. And I thought charismatic was one, and then superficial charm was the nice, the kind of meaner way of saying it. Person who can make hard decisions could also be seen as the person who has emotional poverty. So there is a continuum here, and I think during the day we swing between not psychopath and not blob of amoeba, which I think is the 2 extremes here. Right. We cycle between these 2 things because we have sometimes we have to make the hard decision, and sometimes we have to be the one with the shoulder that you cry on. And I think for many of us in this business in particular, we feel torn, because if you're in showbiz, we know it's cutthroat. It is a psychopathic industry. It doesn't believe in caring about your family, your mental health, your physical health, just as a worker in it.
Right. It will chew you up and spit you out, and you'll keep coming back.
Expectation, everything, because we are creative artists and we're looking for an outlet. So, but the thing is, when you look at these CEOs and see the decisions they need to make and see how some of them run their companies, and hedge fund guys too, hedge fund guys, even scarier. That really, when I first learned about this, a couple of years ago I learned about this, really just chilled me to the bone to think, wow, we are, like all of our greatest MBA programs are training people to be more psychopathic and less here for humanity. No wonder we're in the shape we're in right now.
So to that point then, aren't these people, the hedge fund guys and the guys on Wall Street that are doing all these, I don't even know what the words, the annuities and all the trickery, all the financial trickery and the derivatives and all that, they're doing it at a computer, so they're not even seeing the human end of it. So does even, we've talked a lot about technology today, but it's now creeped into, they don't have to see the people that they're fucking over, basically.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, and I just remember that from American Psycho. I have to go return some videotapes.
Yeah, everyone thought that guy was a pretty upstanding citizen, huh?
Yeah.
No, it's all connected, as my mother would love to say. It's all connected. It's again a lack of analog. Mm-hmm. You don't have funding. You don't identify people early enough because you're not really interfacing with them. There's not enough social work being done in the primary school system to identify people that need help and that need a little special extra attention, i.e. watching very closely. They're then pushed through the system. They have all of the things on your list that they haven't mastered, and yet they learned how to kind of mask them.
And were rewarded for it.
And then start getting rewarded for it.
Yeah, Puritan work ethic. You know, hard work, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You're going to be rewarded in the afterlife.
Yeah.
That was the original concept of that. You're going to be rewarded in the afterlife. So do what you have to do in this, in this area, because you're going to be rewarded if you're successful in the end.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I'm more of a reward, you'll get it here kind of guy. I hope.
Yeah.
That's what I always hope.
But think of the
big question mark about the afterlife thing.
The black and white nature of how, there was like two columns, and there was the left column and the right column. Could you start having discussions like, General George Patton, psychopath?
Well, yeah.
Like start to think about it in the gray of that certain traits, certain ability to be emotionally dead inside or cut off from every emotion makes you effective at certain jobs. And in certain situations when you're, fighting World War II, you can't have everybody out there going, so how do you feel about this landmine field?
You can't have a KPFK
So
community
we have to think
meeting.
about it in, not that we need to breed psychopaths, but we can't just think about like good or bad and that they're all Patrick Bateman, which looks good on film.
And then it's situational. I mean, a therapist, if you're dealing with a client who's suicidal, you're not going to be like, oh, let me give you a hug. You're like, I'm sorry, I'm putting you in for a 48 hold because you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be the dictator in that moment, and you have to be, the cold and have some emotional poverty. You can't be aching with your depressed patient.
Yeah.
So it's very situational.
That's interesting, the idea that, so for the money guys, they need the distance and can just look at the computer so they can screw the people they don't know. But for the soldiers and the military commanders, they need the reverse in a weird way.
And what does Army training
Because they
do?
can't-
What does
Army-
boot camp and
first thing it does.
It deadens you. Look at some of the, again, we're quoting
dehumanizes the
films.
enemy.
But look at Full Metal Jacket. Look at what that process of that film was. Part of that journey was taking this funny guy who they called the Joker, Matthew Modine, and just dehumanizing him to the point where in that fateful scene he can draw down on that female sniper and blow her away. That's the journey to psychopathy. It's just interesting.
All right, so let's bring it home and talk about money, because there obviously is some connection between all this and money. If you looked at the left-hand column, a lot of money there.
A lot of money there.
Right-hand column, the nurses not making that much money, the therapists, things like that. So how much of this is inherently related to the quest for money, I guess?
All of it, I think. I mean, I said the culture, the culture supports. The more psychopathic you are, but you're not killing and actually murdering people, the more likely you're going to do well in business. I mean, that's the way the business model is set up. There's not a lot of humanity in any, I mean, it's funny because, you look at lawyers. I mean, there's a lot of great lawyers who work for free, and they're there because they're trying to do good and they're trying to bring actual justice. There's a lot of people, well, there's people on the left, that left column, that do it for the right reasons. But yeah, this culture is set. I mean, we watch football every weekend.
By the way, who do you like in the opener?
Yeah, by the way.
Look, think about it this way. If let's go Citizens United. If corporations are people, maybe we just have to have those corporations deemed psychopaths.
Yes.